And blessed to be part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Did you know you could win tickets to see the PBR for free? Listen, this week for your opportunity, we'll be giving away tickets to see the professional bull riders right here in the Treasure Valley. They'll be at the Ford Nampa Center, the Ford Idaho Center in Nampa, and that will be starting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday will be at Ed's 50s Cafe in Meridian, Idaho, giving away tickets, and hopefully we'll be talking to some PBR riders as well. Joining us now, Senior Policy Director from the Conservative Partnership, Rachel Bovard, to talk a little bit about the wall and a lot of other things. Plus, we'll talk about last night's kind of lackluster debate between Paulette Jordan and Brad Little. But, Rachel, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So the wall. The president was elected on building the wall. He got a lot of folks in Congress elected on building the wall, and yet there's no wall.
Yeah, I think that's the two outstanding pledges he cannot keep without the help of Congress, the wall and Obamacare repeal. And Congress has really let him down on both fronts.
Indeed. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think for any reason Congress doesn't do anything, it's usually lack of will more than it is anything else. But on the wall in particular, you've seen Congress make a lot of promises that they failed to keep. Even the $1.6 billion they say they've already given him actually prohibits any new construction at the border and specifically prohibits any construction of Trump's wall prototype. So that's kind of a head fake a little bit. Here's some money. We can't let you use it, but we're going to say we gave it to you. So, classic congressional behavior.
Classic congressional doublespeak, it would seem.
Very much so. But what's interesting is that in the last week or so, you have seen a shift on this issue. You saw Kevin McCarthy, who's the Republican majority leader in the House, who's running for speaker, come out and introduce a bill that would authorize funding for the wall. Wouldn't actually give any money, but would say, look, we need to do this. And it's speculation abounds that it's part and parcel of his campaign to run for speaker, to tack hard right and look like he's working with the president without actually doing it. If he wanted to do it, there's going to be a big spending fight on December 7th. That would be the place to plant the flag. So we'll see if anyone takes up that mantle. Well,
and one of the things that is interesting is really what's going on between the Republicans. You've got Jim Jordan and you've got Kevin McCarthy trying to be the next Speaker of the House. Of course, we've got these things called the midterms, and it might be Nancy Pelosi or someone else.
That's right. And I think a lot of how this plays out obviously depends on what happens in the midterms. But whoever's going to lead the Republicans in the new Congress, whether it's Jim Jordan or Kevin McCarthy as majority leader or minority leader, I think is going to depend on what we see in December. Congress, again, passed their funding bill only to December 7th. And so this is where the rubber's going to hit the road for a number of issues. Congress loves to take these December spending bills and fill them up with, just ridiculous amounts of spending and earmarks and pork, because you have a lot of members that were just, kicked out of office, essentially voting for these things. But so I think it really depends on who shows about a bunch of leadership in December to say, no, like, we're going to fund the president's priorities, or we're going to use this time to do, as Jim Jordan likes to say, do what we said. So that's going to be a critical crossroads, I think, for the speaker's race.
That is very important. So how about the midterms? What is the big issue playing out?
Democrats have done their best to nationalize this election and make it about Donald Trump. I think you've seen that in a number of races where you have candidates winning who are in favor of abolishing ICE, who are in favor of Medicare for all. I mean, you really are seeing this extreme side of the Democrat Party kind of come out to play on a lot of these issues. So I do think that that's a factor in a number of these races. Turnout is always a factor. Democrats appear to be a little bit more motivated than Republicans, although the missteps I think the Democrats took with confirming Justice Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court definitely motivated a Republican base. So I think it's going to be very, very close in the House, so much so that we may not even know who has the majority for a little while, I think, because some of these races will probably be too close to call.
Rachel, let's talk a little bit about KIDO Talk Radio. Where is conservatism these days? The president is a populist. Sometimes he's conservative. Sometimes, he wavers a little. But, really, where is the state of conservatism? It certainly doesn't seem to be in Congress.
I think it's an interesting question. I think the parties are sort of realigning themselves around, new expressions of some old principles and prioritizing, new principles above others. I think you're seeing that particularly on the fiscal side. No one seems to be a fiscal conservative anymore. This Congress has overwhelmingly passed bills, $1.3 trillion spending bill they passed in March, only to pass another one earlier this month that topped it by $33 billion. So fiscal conservatism, by all accounts, is either dead or taking some kind of hiatus. But I do think you see conservatism kind of coming up in different areas. On the pro-life side, you still have a number of members that would like to see more action on that front. And are upset that Congress just passed a bill that fully funds Planned Parenthood. I think conservatism can only flourish when you have a Congress that's at least even interested in keeping its promises and doing what they said. So I think you have to see a little bit more of that behavior before you can see conservative principles really rise to the top.
You bring up a very good point, though. A lot of us have come up as, social conservatives, but that seems to be going the way of fiscal conservatives, and it's almost like we're pragmatic conservatives, and we don't want to offend anybody. And you bring up a significant point concerning Planned Parenthood that many vowed that would be defunded. And you think about it when you have the presidency, when you have both houses of Congress, why didn't that happen?
I've written about this. It's something that I think a lot of conservatives are starting to wake up and realize that they haven't fought for pro-life priorities at all. And I think it's, a number of people kind of across the country feel very strongly about this issue. This is the time where that issue should make a difference. We have, Republicans have a majority in the House, in the Senate, in the White House. What more do you need? I know some will say, well, you need 60 votes in the Senate. Well, no, you actually only need 41. You need enough to take down a bill that doesn't, or, that fully funds Planned Parenthood to make a point. I think if the pro-life movement is going to be relevant, they really need to start asserting themselves again. Right now, we don't have a pro-life champion in the Senate. We have a number of senators who say they're pro-life, but we don't have anyone that will go to the mat over this issue. In the vein of Rick Santorum, former senator from Pennsylvania, would hold bills on the floor if they weren't sufficiently pro-life. So that, you're right. I think that is an area where the movement gives a lot of lip service, but doesn't actually, fight for these principles.
Well, maybe they've seen what has happened to people like Santorum and others that are, all the resources of Planned Parenthood and the choice movement fired up at them. And, we see people can't even going out to have a dinner these days.
No, that's exactly right. But what's interesting is that you're even seeing that start to come from within the Republican Party. Senator Rand Paul had to basically hold the floor hostage from his own party to get a vote on defunding Planned Parenthood. And it wasn't the Democrats that were standing in his way. It was the Republicans. It was Mitch McConnell and Roy Blunt and others kind of on the Senate Appropriations Committee. So that's a distressing turn of events, I will say, as a committed pro-life Catholic. That is not something I'm personally fond of seeing, but it's an issue. I think that if people care about pro-life issues, in December 7th, when the spending bill kind of hits, that's going to be the point in time where a lot of these priorities are going to be in focus. So that's, I think, what people should be focusing on.
Rachel, we always appreciate you. If people want more information about being more conservative and helping the conservatives, what would you suggest?
You can check us out online at conservativepartnership.org. If you're interested in the pro-life movement in particular, I wrote a piece on this recently at AmericanGreatness.com. It's called Requiem for the Pro-Life Movement.
Rachel, don't be a stranger. We love talking to you here in Idaho. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right. And as we first told you yesterday, the president will be going to Elko this weekend, and we continue to hope to bring him here to the Treasure Valley, but he's getting closer. So keep it here for more details. Good news, Treasure Valley, brought to you by Zamzows. Zamzows' 86th anniversary. Did you know? 86 years of Zamzows. Wow. It's going on now at all 12 Zamzows locations. You can save 20% off pet food and supplies, lawn garden, wild bird, and many, many more. Sale ends October 21st, so shop today at all Treasure Valley Zamzows. Good news, Treasure Valley. The good news was there was a debate last night between Paulette Jordan and Brad Little, held by Idaho Public Television, and we had a chance to listen to both candidates and hear what they had to say. Coming up next, we will share some of the non-yawning moments of the debate. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And let's take some of your phone calls. We go to R&R. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, R&R.
K. Millie, the militia. Hey, I think we'd all be amiss if we missed this opportunity to endorse and embrace Newt for governor in Oregon. There's a lot of people from the Jordan Valley, Adair, Vail, Nissa, Hontura, and Burns, all the way to LeGrand and Baker. It's time to vote for Newt. You look at, I was personal acquaintances with Kitzhaber before he became an adulterer, and this evildoer that's been sitting there pretending to be a governess has just about cannibalized what's left of my beloved Oregon. So Oregon is just about ready to go just way ugly. Get out and vote for, forget Republicans. It's a constitutional Republican in a demon rats, okay? Trust me on this. I come from Crater Lake all the way through the Columbia Gorge. Newt for governor of Oregon. And I hear it's 22 degrees in Winnemucca, so the bite is on for my friends, the beautiful little trout that are out there, and I'll probably go chase them. But I have to endorse the indigenous, and from it's 28 degrees, as I understand, over in Pocatello, so that means the bite is on the Fort Hall, and I love the Pocatello. So here's what I say about the governor. I've endorsed Bradley Little for probably 12 years, and his family is stellar and beyond reproach, and probably the most beautiful family that I've been acquainted with in Idaho, especially this valley. And welcome to Jim County if you want to come out again. You missed Tri-Tip last week at the gathering on Sales Yard. It is absolutely the best hamburger in the valley, and if you come across the bridge this weekend on the corner at this park over by the railroad tracks in Jim County, it's the Chili Festival in a competition of chili.
Well, I'll tell you, I miss a lot of things, but I appreciate the invitation, R&R.
Vote for Newt, and not for the demon rats, and always for the constitutional Republicans. We love you, Kevin.
We love you and our R&R. Thank you. Let's go to Liberty Linda with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, Kevin. You know, I didn't hear if you announced if Tommy Alquist is calling in today.
Unfortunately, he's got another engagement. He was supposed to call in. He was supposed to actually come in on Wednesday, and he notified me yesterday that he had a previous engagement that he forgot about, but we hope to get him in studio for an hour. But Bill O'Reilly will be.
He always remembers you.
Bill O'Reilly will be joining us tomorrow. So.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, yesterday all my electricity went out.
That's not good.
No, it wasn't good. But, you know, I just wanted to mention that I don't think Elizabeth Warren looks Indian at all to me. I look at her and she looks like a total European.
Right.
And listen, I think she had .00000000009% Indian. However, the person who gave her the test said he didn't use an Indian marker at all. So we don't know what's going on there, but I don't think Indian blood's going on there.
Well, I think what was the DNA test? It was 1/100th, 25th, or something of that nature.
Right, less than the average person in the United States.
And the Cherokee Nation, they were not impressed by it. That was an official statement by the Cherokees. So
I know. Anyway, yeah, my sister did a DNA test, and I don't think that they're very good to have. You know, we have a lot of German blood.
If you like the feds knowing every genetic makeup of your body, then go ahead and get the DNA test.
Right, but it doesn't always tell you.
Let me
like
just,
with my sister, we have a lot of German blood, and it didn't even come up.
Well, maybe you don't.
Oh, we do. Absolutely, 100%.
According to the DNA test, you don't.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The DNA test, I'm not always correct.
See if you could help me with this here. By the way, phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. What is the big deal where people want to know their ancestry? Isn't it good enough to be an American? Now, as a kid growing up, people would say, you're Irish, you're German. You know, for a certain amount of degree, I think about that. And then this hyphenated American garbage came through. And I feel, my own personal belief, that I'm so blessed to be born in this country, born in America, that I don't really honor any other place. And maybe I'm a second-class citizen in Paulette Jordan's America. But in my America, that's good enough for me. That's my own opinion, Liberty Linda.
Oh, I know. I've heard you say that before, and I agree with you. You know, we're so honored to have been born in this country where we have freedom. And but I do believe, and, you know, I have my genealogy all the way back.
Right.
And it means a great deal to me to know who my ancestors were.
Well, and look, anybody born in America is a Native American.
Well, that's true, of course. Yeah, that as well.
So I don't understand this whole Paulette Jordan thing. You know, she speaks in platitudes that make no sense. Last night she's calling Brad Little her predecessor. Well, that would mean that Brad Little, she's the lieutenant governor. She uses a lot of words that, with all due respect, I don't think she understands the meaning of.
Well, I don't either. I don't know why they're bringing out that, you know, what makes them qualified to hold office because they have any type of blood, you know. You know, it should be available to whomever is here, regardless if you have Indian blood or not. So I don't know why they're bringing that out. I don't know the point of it. You know, we have many people of all races, all different types of people run for office. If they're qualified, we vote for them. We're behind them. So I don't think that really matters. Just so that, you know, they live here and that they are, you know, are able to run for office. If, you know,
sure.
It's a citizen.
All right, Liberty Linda, you're German. You've got I believe you.
Well, I know we are. So, anyway, but don't believe those DNA tests. They're not always correct. Oh. Anyway, we love you. We know that's correct. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll be listening in.
Liberty Linda, thank you. God bless.
Thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Our great friend Liberty Linda. Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio.
It's Rick Everett.
And by the way, Liberty Linda must have been reading our minds. Coming up, we're going to get the latest concerning Elizabeth Warren and her DNA test. That's from Rachel Sutherland. Remember, when you hear Fox News on the radio in the Treasure Valley, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning and Sean Hannity in the afternoon. We're just a few months away. Actually, what is it, about 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks away from Miller's Mission, if you're new to the area. What is Miller's Mission? It is our Treasure Valley Turkey Drive, where we live at the Walmart. That's right, the Walmart in Nampa, Garrity and Franklin Boulevard. We are there for a week, thanks to our friends at Camping World, Team Mazda Subaru, and the Boise Rescue Mission, collecting your turkeys, your tax-deductible turkeys, your cash tax-deductible donations, non-food items, food items, and this goes to feed Treasure Valley families. In fact, the turkeys that you donate actually go to cooking and being served at meals the following week in Nampa and in Boise, supporting the Boise Rescue Mission. So if you have a school project, if you have a work project, and you'd like to do something that really benefits folks in the Treasure Valley, remember, the Boise Rescue Mission, they do not receive government funding. Every one of their good works comes from local funding. That means you. Won't you join us this edition of Miller's Mission coming up the 12th through the 17th of November? And the great thing about it is the show doesn't end. We keep rolling until we collect as many turkeys as possible. And from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate everything that you do, whether it's clothes, whether it's food, whether it's cash, whether you just come out and argue with Miller's militia, I just love the opportunity to make a difference. And it's not me that's making a difference, it's you. So please join us this year for Miller's Mission. Coming up next, Elizabeth Warren and the DNA, and we'll begin our review and commentary of last night's gubernatorial debate on Idaho Public Television. If you missed it, well, there was more action between Blake and Adam on The Voice than last night between Brad Little and Paulette Jordan, even though Paulette Jordan continues on with these inane platitudes that make no sense. Coming up next, we'll hold her accountable. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Out to Capitol Hill, our great friend Rachel Sutherland joining us. Fox News Radio on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Rachel, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Seems kind of like a mellow day, if you will. We're just going to talk about Elizabeth Warren and her DNA testing. No talks of Justice Kavanaugh, lawsuits, or government shutdowns. It's kind of like a chill day. Of course, that could change in a second.
Well, that's right. It could change any moment and often does. But, yeah, Elizabeth Warren releasing her DNA test that the president, I guess at one time or another, had said he donated $1 million to the charity of her choice if she'd do it. She did it, and it's been making the rounds on social media, a lot of laughing and so on, because I guess there's a Native American maybe 8, 9, 10 generations back. And so people are saying she's like 1/1000th of % or something like that. I mean, look, it all started back when it was then candidate Trump making fun of Senator Elizabeth Warren and calling her Pocahontas, and he still does. And he's made no apology for it. And so I think with her 2020 ambitions, she wanted to go ahead and put this in her file that indeed she was telling the truth and that she had Native American heritage. However, Cherokee Nation isn't even happy about all this. They released a statement about it saying it was inappropriate to use a DNA test to lay claim to any connection to Cherokee Nation or any tribal nation. But I don't think that's what she was after. I don't think she was trying to get in with Cherokee Nation. I think she was trying to have this definitely in her corner that she wasn't fabricating her Native American history.
Right, and the president said, so what, who cares, and I hope she runs, I'll beat her, or something like that.
Yeah, he was telling reporters that. He also said if she were to become president of the United States, it would be a disaster, and she'd turn the U.S. into Venezuela. So, look, I mean, the left, though, and Democrats may be making a bit of a mistake putting up Senator Elizabeth Warren, only because, it's so polarizing. There seems to be a trend, at least in some parts of the country, to put up really progressive, far left candidates when it might help to move toward the middle more. I mean, different states are different. You look at a state like Pennsylvania, like Connor Lamb, he's more of a moderate Democrat. But there are many around who are more progressive, and that seems to be the trend. However, you end up losing some in the net that might have swung over to the Democrat side. Oh, by the way, the president just tweeted about Elizabeth Warren saying, thank you to Cherokee Nation for revealing that Elizabeth Warren, sometimes referred to as Pocahontas, is a complete and total fraud. So that's the president's take on the DNA test.
Well, and not that, because I don't have anything else to do. Apparently the Cherokee said there's a difference between the North Tribe and the South Tribe, and you can't differentiate that. And, somewhere we've got to worry about North Korea and the Iranians and such, so...
Right, and the Saudis, too. Cherokee Nation. He tweeted that now Cherokee Nation denies her DNA test useless. They don't even want her phony. So I don't know if Cherokee Nation is like kicking her off the reservation literally. But look, I mean, this could backfire. I think she may have known this could backfire on her, that even people who would support her may not be so supportive of her move to do the DNA test.
Rachel Sutherland, to be continued. You're always very busy. We so appreciate you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, Rachel Sutherland joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone number is 580-5436. 580-KIDO. We're going to go to Choice in Mountain Home with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Choice.
Morning, Kevin. I just wanted to point out the issue that Pocahontas, the whole issue is not whether or not she the DNA test doesn't even really show that she's Native American. The DNA test was skewed to add people from Venezuela and stuff like that into the mix to see if it even matches up, to have some sort of ethnicity in it. That's why it's 1 in 1,000th chance that she could have some sort of Native blood in her of some sort. It doesn't even say whether it's Native American or not, number one. Number two, the whole issue of the whole thing is that when she applied for college and went to college, she was claiming Native American history and blood in order to get discounts or in order to get accepted into college under a minority scholarship issue. That's what she did. And so that's why everybody calls her Pocahontas, is because she was trying to use the Native American people in order to try to benefit herself to get into school. And she doesn't even have any kind of qualifying Native American bloodline or history or anything like that. But yet she's trying to use the benefit they would get from the suffering that they had. So just more Democrat type stuff, and that's the issue.
Well, I would agree with you on that. It just, Choice, it's amazing that people would try and get away with that. And, the millennials talk about authenticity and transparency, and yet we still have the frauds that are protected by the media.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the thing, is the media trying to push it that, oh, yeah, see, she was right. But it's so naive of the people not to understand basic information. But most of the DNA places, all of them combined, say that Caucasian Americans generally have 0.18% Native American in them across the board. Well, her tests come out so that hers is 0.097. So hers is even less than the average white person on how much actual Indian or Native bloodline they might have in their DNA, actually. So that's the perspective of the reality of her results.
Well, Choice, thank you for that. All right, thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Ray, I'm wondering if you're thinking of that song. What is that? Cherokee Woman? Is that old song? Cherokee Nation, something like that. And you think about Elizabeth Warren, and now she's going to do all these. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's unfortunate. And then you have people saying, well, I might be as Native American as she is. And somewhere in the world, we had a gubernatorial debate last night. Got a little heated, and thanks to our friends at Idaho Public Television, here is Paulette Jordan going after Brad Little. Now, again, if you ever notice, and, maybe I'm petty, I'm pithy, when it comes to the journalists in this state, sure, some of them do a good job, but have you noticed not one person has asked Paulette Jordan when she says, we are 50th? By the way, you notice her syntax sounds like Obama's? We are 50th. We are bad. I am for the people, but I am the people. It doesn't make any sense. And even Brad Little last night, who clearly was doing everything he could to keep his cool, I don't know what you said. There's a part of it where he goes, I don't know what you just said. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why doesn't somebody ask her, you're a Democrat. The Republicans are going to own the House and the Senate. You've insulted them. You've called them this and that. Why would they do anything to promote your agenda? It's not going to happen. It's a waste of vote for Paulette Jordan. And like I said, maybe people are trying to be nice because she's only 38. Maybe since she's told us she's a mom, they're trying to be nice to her and just go, well, bless her heart. At 580-5436-580-KIDO. But I sit there and I think to myself, she makes a lot of statements that make no sense, like calling Brad Little her predecessor. Well, that would mean that she's the lieutenant governor and Brad Little is, ran for office before her. And really, I remember the vetting that went on with Tommy Ahlquist, with Brad Little, with Congressman Labrador, Dr. Ahlquist, Lieutenant Governor Little. Where's the vetting with Paulette Jordan? What does she do for a living? Okay, she's been a state rep for, 2 years, and she didn't even finish out her term? Whoopee. But what is she doing professionally? Where's the vetting here? And you can tell with the Idaho Press Club, well, thank you, Betsy, for that great question. And here's a woman that's been caught flip-flopping on guns, flip-flopping on who's an Idahoan and who isn't, and talking about her elders. And to me, her language is exclusionary. That's my opinion. It's not inclusive. And I think this is one big, giant audition for 4 years from now when you have people that, dye their hair pink and believe everything the word she says. And again, the appeal of Jordan is if you lack critical thinking skills, she's your girl. And by the way, let me apologize in advance for this. Whatever happened to people wearing dresses? Hillary Clinton didn't wear a dress and she lost. Paula Jordan's wearing a pantsuit, a Hillary suit. You want to appeal to mainstream Idahoans? I'd say wear a dress and talk about your life experiences and what you've done in the real world. Brad Little, like him or not, specific, in depth. You can tell that he's prepped, ready to go. There's no OJT for Brad Little in this. But for Paulette Jordan, wait till you hear what she has to say. That's next on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
In retrospect, do you think Bill should have resigned in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal?
Absolutely not.
It wasn't an abuse of power?
No.
There are people who look at the incidents of the 90s and they say a president of the United States cannot have a consensual relationship with an intern. The power imbalance is too
Who was
great.
an adult.
There we have it. Hillary Clinton with a straight face defending Bill Clinton from Good Morning America. We'll get to that coming up next. Our great friend Hank joins us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Hank.
I might point out that Cecil Andrus was even younger. When he first ran for governor in '66, he was 35. And when he finally won in 1970 against Don Samuelson, he was 39. So, I mean, he's actually only a year older than Paulette Jordan is now. But Paulette Jordan is kind of reflective. She reminds me kind of like Leslie Stahl over there in their interview with Trump on global warming. There's a lack of critical thinking here. In other words, of actually researching the subject and seeing and understanding all the nuances of the subject. Leslie Stahl is repeating old Democrat liberal lines on global warming, and basically it's Paulette Jordan parroting old warm themes. She never, she's a combination of identity politics and Democrat cliches.
And you bring up a very good point, whether it's these cliches or platitudes that make no sense. I just sit there and I'm thinking no one challenges her. And coming up next hour, Cynthia Sewell starts off with, Paulette, you're talking about being transparent. What does this guy from Wyoming do? And she wouldn't answer the question. Then you have Betsy Russell when she wasn't tossing the softballs, saying you'd hire people from out of state. Yes, I would hire people from out of state. And Hank, as you know, more than most, let's say she gets elected. She's not going to do a darn thing as governor because you've got Bedke, you've got Hill, you've got our friend Chuck Winder. You've got a lot of powerful Republicans that are not going to pass a Democratic agenda, especially with her, pardon my attitude, her tude.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're totally right on that. But she'd also have to take a crash course on what the governor does and doesn't do in terms of what the office is. I don't think that she fully understands how state government functions. I mean, from listening to her, I think she would have to have a crash course in understanding, the governor's role, like on the land board, what the history of the policy is. I don't think she has the background in this.
Well, no, she just makes a statement. Our people deserve better. I deserve better. I'm going to do this. And when I'm governor, and here's the other one. We're 50th in education. When you talk about a Debbie Downer, okay, we're last in wages. Well, what are you going to do specifically? I will change this. What are you going to do specifically? I will change this. She gives no answers. And the journalists, shame on them, because that's their job. Our job, Hank, is we throw out topics, you talk about them, I talk about them. But when we have to correct the journalists, they got some issues.
Well, the journalists themselves are cliched. I mean, she's a minority. It's like the same adoration they had for Obama, where practically Mr. Matthews had thrills going up and down his legs when he was listening to Obama. I feel the same way about the Idaho Press Corps towards Paulette Jordan, even though she's probably arguably the less qualified person in that's ever run for the office from a major party in Idaho.
Hank, has anybody examined what she did for a living? Before this, right? What did she do for? We know what Brad Little did, Raul Labrador, what Tommy Alquist did, what Russ Fulcher did, what Janice McGeechan did. What does she do? What's her profession?
That's a good question. I don't even know that. I should know that. I don't. I really don't. Do you know what she did?
I have no idea. That's why I'm asking. I got to run, but thank you, Hank.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Traffic and weather together. Some delays and a pregnancy and a childbirth all going on 84 East this morning. With the details on KIDO Talk Radio, Dave.